If you struggle to come up with new content ideas and you find yourself going to Google, Pinterest, or ChatGPT for some help, and you're left with nothing but like weird, empty ideas that just don't correlate to your messaging, yourself, or your business, then this video is for you. It's time to give content repurposing a try. Content repurposing is just a way of taking content that you've created in the past, reformatting it, restructuring it, and figuring out a new way to put a new spin on it or post it on a different platform. Basically, it's just a way of reusing old stuff. And there are actually three main ways that I like to use content repurposing in my content strategy that you can start implementing today. So method number one, same platform, changing the format. This is actually the easiest way to repurpose content because let's just say that you are already creating content on Instagram. We just want to take top performing content and figure out a new way to repost it on Instagram. You don't need to show up in a million different places in order to make this content repurposing strategy work for you. Now, I am totally for just reposting the exact same piece of content every so often, especially if your audience really resonated with it. You can literally take the same graphic, photo, image, visual, and the same caption, maybe update a little bit and repost the same thing. But let's take this a step further. First, you're gonna wanna dive into your insights to look at your top performing content. And now this is gonna look different for everybody. I personally like to go back and look at my top posts that were saved the most, shared the most, but for you, it might be you wanna know which post got liked the most, which had the most comments. Just start to find themes and trends when you go back and look at your insights inside of Instagram, or honestly, any other social media platform. And no, you do not need a fancy tool or software to do this. You can simply go into vast majority of the social media platforms, and as long as you have a professional account, you should have some insights or analytics to look at. So maybe you had a top performing reel that just listed out a bunch of different things. So for me, that might look something like, here's my top 5 content creation tips, and I just listed it out in a reel, like with some text on the screen, and called it a day. Since people really liked that topic, I can then take that reel and expand on it in an educational carousel. The front image might look something like my top 5 content creation tips, keep that super simple. And then I can take each of those 5 different tips and create a single page in that carousel and go a little bit deeper with some text. And again, I'm using the same content on one platform and repurposing it for that same platform, just in a different format. Did you have a top performing Instagram story that people sent you a lot of DMs or really reacted with some different reaction stickers or answered your poll? How can you take the content inside of that story and create a short form video? If the story itself was engaging enough, Instagram makes that easy and you can literally just share it as a reel. Or think about a way to dive a little deeper and do a talking head video that you can put into an Instagram reel. Or maybe there's a feed post that performed really high and maybe it was like an infographic or some kind of quote. Can you tweak it or update it to fit into a new trend? Or maybe you need to update a little bit of the information and repost the same exact thing. The main thing here, go back and look at your analytics for that top performing content and see how you can put a new spin on it. The second way to repurpose content is across platforms. This one a lot of people are familiar with, but they don't always execute it in the right way. One of the most popular ways of doing this is taking a tweet that you put out over on Twitter, screenshotting it, and putting it on Instagram. You can totally do that, but you have to understand the nuances of both of those platforms. And while this type of content does perform very well on both platforms, you have to consider that when you take a screenshot of that tweet, is it profound enough to be put on Instagram that people are gonna wanna share and comment and like on it? You also have to understand the format. On Twitter, make sure you're taking the screenshot from a mobile phone versus a desktop to make sure that it fits in line with what's gonna look better on Instagram. You're also gonna have to take that screenshot from that tweet, crop it in, and put it on either a white or black background, or again, you can get fancy and fun with the design to make sure that it fits in that square or that portrait format for Instagram. Or let's say you have a Twitter thread, you need to make sure you take individual screenshots of each of those tweets in that thread, format them properly, and upload as a carousel to Instagram. Because if you just take a screenshot of the full thread, it's gonna be way too small to read if you post just the thread on Instagram. It needs to be a carousel. Another instance of this, I could take this same video and post it on both Reels and TikTok. But the text that goes on the video, the cover, the caption, the hashtags, all of those things might be different. And while I can sit down and record something on a camera, record a tutorial, whatever that looks like, the video and that visual component might be the same. But when I upload that video to Instagram, I might have a little bit longer of a caption and a little bit less text on the screen, focusing on maxing out hashtags and things like that. Whereas when I go and post it on TikTok, I want to make sure that I have subtitles, more text on the screen. The caption itself is going to be a bit shorter with very niche and specific hashtags. Again, you can take that same piece of content and put it on multiple different platforms. Just make sure you understand the nuances of each of those platforms and customize that piece of content to fit those platforms. And the last way to repurpose your content is to go from long form content to short form content. Now, this one is the most difficult, but it's the one that I use in my business almost every single day. And this is one that's going to pay off in the long run. Basically, you need to start with one long form piece of content that you can break down and post across multiple different social media platforms. You can post it on different marketing channels, and you can figure out ways to make that content, stretch it out, and deliver it in so many different ways. Currently, you might be watching this on YouTube, and it is probably anywhere between a 5 and 15-minute video. I'm not sure what that's gonna look like once it's edited, but you are watching my long form piece of content. Or you might be watching this as a short form video on your favorite social media platform as a clip pulled from that main YouTube video. So for me, what this looks like, I create 4 YouTube videos a month that I can then take every single week, create anywhere between 3 to 5 short form videos. We can use this transcript to create newsletters and blog posts, and I can take different things that I've said throughout this video and create tweets and captions and so much more. The whole point is I show up on video once a month, batch create all of these videos, and my team can take it, run with it, and produce a lot of content for me. And then I get to step in and kind of have fun and play around on social media. But this is such a great way to repost content that you've already created that has so much great information in it. And it doesn't have to be a long form YouTube video. You can use podcasts or blog posts or articles you've written, anything that has a ton of content and information and has a lot of value for your audience, you can repurpose. Maybe you found a little bit of inspiration throughout these 3 different methods, but maybe you're still feeling like, I don't know what to do or what to create, or I just don't feel like creating content. I do have this video for you here where I talk about the different things that you can do to approach content creation when you just don't feel like it. As always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and don't forget to hit subscribe.